Good evening, everybody. This is Zaeem Kamran, your O-Levels Accounting and Business teacher. We are solving O-Levels Business Studies, November 2023, paper 12. Now, in the last video, we completed question number 1. And in this video, we will proceed with question number 2. So, TBX manufactures high-quality steel, which is used to build railways. The method of production used allows TBX to benefit from economies of scale. Now, what are economies of scale? Economies of scale are the cost advantages that business gains by being large in size, right? That gives them an advantage over smaller businesses. Again, the business holds a high level of inventory, including iron ore. So they manufacture steel, which includes iron ore, right? And they hold a high inventory of all their products. Right? The managing director knows business activity could have an impact on the environment and is considering ways the business could contribute to sustainable development. The first question is identify 2 ways business activity could have an impact on the environment for 2 marks. And as you can see, आपको दो lines दी हुई हैं for way 1 and way 2. Okay, so you will write the respective ways in their respective spaces. We've studied a bunch of ways in business studies of how business activity can impact the environment. Right? One way can be pollution. Right? एक बात pollution की कर सकते हो, which is actually one of the major concerns, right? One of the biggest concerns, because of factories वगैरह में production हो रही होती है, so there are fumes coming from the factories, from their chimneys. स्मोक आ रही होती है या कोई केमिकल फ्यूम्स होते हैं, right? Because of the ingredients or raw material that they're using. Because that may reduce air quality and it may be injurious to people's health and it may also be injurious to the environment in general, right? The environment, plant life, सबके लिए खराब हो सकता है, right? And we also need plants and trees to survive, right? So in that way, that can have a negative impact on the environment. The second way you can talk about is the transport of goods. Okay, when we transport goods by ship or by trucks, by air, or any other possible means, ठीक है, उस हर तरीके से some of our necessary fossil fuels are being burnt. ठीक है, gas, oil, fuel वगैरह सब यूज हो रहा है तो it's being burnt. ठीक है, that also creates carbon emissions. Right, the emissions are also not good for the environment, for people's health, for any plant life or etc. Like if goods are being transported by air, so those fumes are not good for the birds, right? Or the birds that are flying nearby. If it is being transported by ship, then those fumes are harmful for the sea life living there, right? जो हर वक्त उस पानी में रहते हैं, right? So this is one way business activity could impact the environment. ठीक है, वो sea का पानी भी खराब हो सकता है, right? And we need water to survive as well. Then the second question is, for 2 marks, identify 2 ways a business could contribute to sustainable development. Okay, now as you can see, the first one was a general question and this one is also a general question. Right, so again we can give some of the general points that we have studied. Right, one way can be to use renewable energy. Okay, we have studied that in the scenario that TBX wants to contribute to sustainable development, they want to be more sustainable. Because so renewable energy का क्या मतलब हो सकता है? They can install solar panels. मतलब they can use solar energy, which would be मतलब solar panels है ना, so they use sunlight, right? Sunlight से charge होते हैं, and then they produce energy, the electricity that is needed, right? Or they can buy energy that uses renewable sources such as wind or tidal power, right? Wind is a resource that is renewable, right? ये economics में concept पढ़ा होगा, ठीक है, कि renewable क्या होते हैं और non-renewable कौन से होते हैं, right? Non-renewable are usually the ones that are scarce in nature, right? Or they're limited, and renewable are the ones that don't मतलब इस तरह diminish नहीं होते easily, ठीक है, they don't diminish this very easily, okay, and they are not limited in supply, ठीक है, wind is one of them, ठीक है, which is something natural, something provided by nature, ठीक है, so in that way wind is also a free good because it's using no resources to produce, which is why it is renewable, right? So उसका example हो सकता है wind turbines, right, which some people or some businesses are moving towards, right? Wind turbines की एनर्जी की तरफ भी जा रहे हैं जो कि विंड से यूजुअली पावर होती हैं, right? Wind turbines or tidal power. Tidal power would usually be likely to have something to do with tidal waves, right? Which water is also sometimes used as a renewable source of energy, right? And another way can be to develop environmentally friendly products, right? This is an obvious one. Since pollution is a major concern for our society today or for our entire world, okay, so using environmentally friendly products is a very important step. Again, if businesses do that, they can become more sustainable. ठीक है, इसका एक एग्जांपल क्या हो सकता है? कोल्ड ड्रिंक के कैंस हम पीते हैं, सो वो कैंस जिस मटेरियल से बनते हैं दैट कैन बी रिप्लेस्ड विद बायोडिग्रेडेबल मटेरियल इंस्टेड, राइट? उससे कैंस बनाए उसके बने हुए कैंस हो सकते हैं, राइट? सो दैट विल नॉट बी हार्मफुल टू द एनवायरनमेंट। एक और एग्जांपल हो सकता है दैट पेपर हम यूज़ करते हैं इन आवर डेली लाइव्स, वी यूजिंग ऑल द टाइम, वी बीन यूजिंग पेपर सिंस वी वर किड्स, वी स्टिल यूजिंग इट। और पेपर किससे बनता है? वुड से, राइट? पेपर इज मेड फ्रॉम वुड एंड वेयर डज द वुड कम फ्रॉम? ट्रीज। तो पेपर को बनाने के लिए वुड चाहिए होती है और उस वुड को लाने के लिए वी नीड टू कट डाउन ट्रीज। लेकिन ट्रीज कट डाउन हम करते हैं तो उससे क्या होता है? ट्रीज आर डूइंग व्हाट? दे आर गिविंग अस ऑक्सीजन, ठीक है, सो इट मे क्रिएट अ लैक ऑफ ऑक्सीजन until a new tree is grown there, right? So अगर ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा ट्रीज कटना शुरू हो जाते हैं वो भी इन्वायरमेंट के लिए बुरा होता है, ठीक है, बिकॉज हमारा जो है ऑक्सीजन जो है वो अफेक्ट होगा उससे, दैट इज हार्मफुल नॉट जस्ट फॉर प्लांट लाइफ बट फॉर ह्यूमन लाइफ एज वेल, राइट? सो उसका एक एग्जांपल ये हो सकता है दैट आई माई सेल्फ हैव सीन एंड यूज्ड बैम्बू से बना हुआ पेपर, राइट? पेपर मेड ऑफ बैम्बू। आई हैव एक्चुअली यूज्ड अ नोटबुक दैट हैड पेपर मेड ऑफ बैम्बू, ठीक है, इट वर्क्स मच लाइक अ वाइट बोर्ड, यू राइट ऑन इट एंड इट्स इरेजेबल, ठीक है, इफ यू वांट टू सेव something that you wrote you can take a picture of it, right? और आपको नया लेने की ज़रूरत भी नहीं पड़ती, you can just keep using that one, you can keep reusing it, it's not causing harm to the environment, and no trees no trees are dying to make that, right? So there are some companies जो मतलब अपने कभी seminars या career events वगैरह ऐसा कुछ करती हैं, so they usually giving out free pens and notebooks या notepads to people who are attending, right? So what they can do is they can, अगर वो notepads उन्होंने issue करने हैं, they can make notepads that contain the paper made of bamboo, right? और उसके साथ का एक पेन भी होता है, right? That can be a specific pen that can be used, specific erasable pen that can be used on that notebook, right? So that's an example of an environmentally friendly product, right? And in this example, the product was what? Bamboo, right? Okay, so C is identify two ways a business could contribute to sustainable development. Oh, sorry, I just read B again. C is outline two possible economies of scale TVX might benefit from. अच्छा ना, economies of scale का concept भी है जो कि हम business studies और economics दोनों में पढ़ते हैं. What are the types of economies of scale that we have studied? They are purchasing economies, selling economies, managerial economies, technical economies, right? And more. So यहाँ पे 2 हमने explain करनी है for 4 marks and specific to TVX because the question is asked in the context of TVX, so there are likely to be some marks for application. So for such questions, you have to remember knowledge, analysis, application, right? Knowledge would be कि आपने पॉइंट बता दिया. फॉर एग्जांपल वी टॉक अबाउट परचेजिंग इकोनॉमीज. Purchasing economies is purchasing economies are one economy that might uh, bring benefits to TBX. ठीक है, that's knowledge. When businesses buy large amounts of components, right? They buy products in bulk. तो उससे क्या होता है? They can gain large discounts for that. ठीक है, ये भी आपका नॉलेज में आ जाता है. एंड देन दिस रिड्यूसेस द यूनिट कॉस्ट ऑफ ईच आइटम. ठीक है, आगे आप बताओगे किससे ये फायदा होगा. दैट द यूनिट कॉस्ट ऑफ ईच आइटम वुड बी रिड्यूस्ड. ठीक है, विच वुड एंड अप गिविंग द बिजनेस एन एडवांटेज ओवर स्मॉलर बिजनेसेस. ये आपका हो गया एनालिसिस. ठीक है, आपने पॉइंट बता दिया एंड यू एनालाइज इट बाय टेलिंग अस, बाय टेलिंग द रीडर कि उसका फायदा एक्चुअली क्या होगा. एंड देन आप टीबीएक्स की बात करो. टीबीएक्स जो है, दे आर बाइंग, दे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग स्टील, राइट, एंड दैट इंक्लूड्स आयरन ओर. ठीक है, सो इफ दे बाय द आयरन ओर इन बल्क, दे कैन एंजॉय सच लो कॉस्ट एडवांटेजेस, राइट. ये आपकी क्या होगी? एप्लीकेशन, राइट. सो नॉलेज, एनालिसिस, एप्लीकेशन, इन दिस वे आप इसको इस तरह से आंसर कर सकते हैं, राइट. एंड द सेकंड इकोनॉमी ऑफ स्केल वी कैन टॉक अबाउट इज मैनेजरियल इकोनॉमी. Now the name says it all. ठीक है, मैनेजरियल मतलब हायरिंग स्पेशलिस्ट मैनेजर्स, हायरिंग स्किल्ड मोर एक्सपीरियंस मैनेजर्स जिनकी सैलरी ज़्यादा हो सकती है. ठीक है, बट दे वुड ऑल्सो हेल्प यू implement best practices that will help you make the best possible and most efficient use of your resources and end up lowering your average costs, right? Okay, so आपने managerial economies की बात की. आपने कहा कि large businesses can normally afford to hire such managers. ठीक है, that will help you implement such practices जो कि ये फ़ायदा लेके आएंगी, efficiency increase करेंगी. That is your, and then potentially lower your average cost. That is your analysis. And then आप TBX की बात फिर करोगे कि TBX को क्या फ़ायदा होगा. TBX is looking for ways to be sustainable, right? So आप वो example बता सकते हो that this can help them, implementing such best practices can help them reduce wastage. ठीक है, because if they have such a manager or such a team that can help them implement these practices. ठीक है, या फिर alternatively internally किसी को managerial position अगर वो दे देते हैं, if they think कि he can be that kind of asset for them जो ये practices implement कर सकेगा effectively और team manage भी कर सकेगा. ठीक है, so that way they can also save on उसकी सैलरी थोड़ी सी बढ़ा देंगे and they would save on their funds, right, and then they can allocate some of those funds to for better environmental practices as well. उससे भी wastage reduce होगी. ठीक है, so overall this will help them contribute to sustainable development. ठीक है, और ये आपकी application हो गई. Okay, so again knowledge, analysis and application. Or usually even for general questions you must remember knowledge and analysis दोनों होने चाहिए. That is usually expected. ठीक है, because उसके marks होते हैं, right? There are marks for knowledge and for analysis. और जहाँ application ज़रूरी हो वहाँ पे there are also marks for application. Alright, that was it for this video. I will be back with the next video where we will be solving the rest of this question. Take care.